Hello, I'm Jared Taylor with American Renaissance. These videos are not being promoted in the usual way. So if you like what you see, I hope you'll promote it yourself to some of your friends. You've probably heard that working class American white people are dying of despair. It's something new. For decades, the death rates of people in high-income countries have been going down by about 2% every year. People get richer, medicine gets better, public health improves. There have been no exceptions until now. In 2015, researchers Ann Case and Angus Deaton reported that beginning in 1999, death rates started going up, but only for working class American whites. They're dying of drugs, alcohol, suicide, also heart disease and diabetes. You can pretty much control these things if you want to live. So Professors Case and Deaton coined the term deaths of despair. Ordinarily, death rates go up only when there's war, plague, economic collapse. So this was a really eye-opening finding. How did American academics react? Even the Washington Post admitted that the reaction was, "How dare you work on whites? Professors under fire for research on white mortality. How dare they care about dying white people? Didn't they know everybody else is much more important?" Here are data on overdose deaths from all drugs. In 2010, the death rate took off for everybody, but especially white people. The top blue line. The black line is for the entire population, so compare whites to blacks, the second blue line, and Hispanics, who are the lowest blue line. Something is going wrong for white people. When people take dangerous drugs or drink themselves to death, it's a kind of suicide. So let's look at suicide rates. Historically, white people kill themselves more often than blacks. In 1960, back in the old Jim Crow days, white people still kill themselves at 3 times the black rate. Men kill themselves more often than women. So white men were 11 times more likely to kill themselves than black women. I guess that was before they discovered intersectionality. Here are recent suicide rates. The green line at the top is American Indians and Eskimos who kill themselves more often even than whites. The yellow line is white people. A pretty steady increase from 2008 to 2017. Clumped together with the lowest suicide rates are blacks, Asians, and Hispanics. These are very different populations, and it's interesting that they kill themselves at almost exactly the same rate. Whites are still about 3 times as likely to kill themselves as blacks, or Hispanics or Asians, as it turns out. But let's take a look at Indian Eskimo suicide. Here are their rates compared to all other Americans by age group, which is indicated at the bottom of the graph. Look at the second group of bars for age group 15 to 24. Native Americans, that's the green bar, are 3 times as likely as everyone else to kill themselves at that age. Indians and Eskimos don't get to about the same rate as everybody else until age 45 to 54. But after that, they're less likely to kill themselves. I don't know what's going on with Indians, but all these suicides by young people must be devastating to their families. Well, there's been a recent refinement on that original study by Professors Case and Deaton. It's by Arjumand Siddiqui and Odoma Saderdeni of the University of Toronto, and it's got some new data. Here are death rates for whites since 2000 through 2015. Each graph is for a different age group, as you can see at the tops of the graphs, and each age group is divided into 3 subgroups according to education. Take a look at the first graph for whites ages 25 through 29. The red line shows the increase in death rates for whites with only a high school education or less. You can see it's just about doubled in 15 years. The dotted blue line is whites with just some college, and the green line at the bottom is college-educated whites. For all age groups, whites who didn't get past high school are dying at a faster clip. If all they've had is a couple of years of college, their death rates are drifting up too. It's only the college graduates whose death rates are drifting down. And remember, these rates are supposed to be going down for everybody, and they still are for all the other racial groups. So why are working class whites dying? This study points out that yes, their wages haven't gone up in 20 years, but, and this is important, it's been the same for working class blacks. There's something special going on with white people. It's true, when factories close, whites who may have counted on these jobs for generations are out of luck. But the authors of this study have a different explanation. We hypothesize that the anxiety of whites is coming from a perception, a misperception, that their dominant status in society is being threatened. You see, it's all a misunderstanding. They go on to say, the social status threat mechanism clearly has emerged as a way to explain the election of a presidential candidate who espoused highly racist views. Not just racist, highly racist. And since a lot of white people voted for him, that proves they're worried about their social status. I'll quote some more. For perhaps the first time, we are suggesting that a major population health phenomenon cannot be explained by actual social or economic status disadvantage, but instead is driven by perceived threat to status. The authors thought that was so important they put it in italics. You see, nothing especially bad is happening to white people, but they're so worried about losing their dominant status over blacks, the authors say, that they have gone into despair. Oh, those fragile, bigoted white people. As the lefties like to say, when you're accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression. Well, if your name is Arjunan Siddiqui and you're a professor at an elite Canadian university, you obviously know all there is to know about working class American whites. Udma Sadardeni, the other author, is from Mongolia. Well, working class white people aren't worried about losing status to blacks. They're a lot more worried about losing their jobs to illegal immigrants from Mexico. And they hate it when Democrats tell them that illegals should get free medical care. White people don't like it when they're told that the country they love was built on slavery and genocide, that the Founding Fathers were horrible men, that all white people are racist but no one else is, and that they're going to be a minority in a few years and they better love it, and that if anything ever goes wrong for people of color, it's their own white fault. Whites don't like it when every motel is owned by someone named Patel, when they're the only one in the convenience store who speaks English, when the best universities are filling up with Asians, when whites are deplorables if they voted for Donald Trump, and when you can say, I hate white people all you like, but if you say, it's okay to be white, you're scum. And scholars who seem to care a little bit about them get attacked for it. Think about the blue-collar white guy who works 2 jobs so he can send his daughter to college. She comes home for Christmas with pink hair and a safety pin through her nose and tells him he's part of the heteronormative, racist oppressor class, and he's benefited from evil white privilege from the day he was born. No wonder he reaches for his Glock. No, nothing special is happening to white people. These Canadians, so-called, tell us we're killing ourselves over a misperception. No thanks. And we're staying very much alive. And we're going to fight this vicious foolishness just as hard as we can. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, take a look at our podcast channel. That's on YouTube at Amran Podcasts. Also, please visit our website at amren.com. That's AMREN.com.